Today on our 2008 Ford F-450 Super Duty, we're going to be taking a look at and installing the B&W Turnover Ball underbed gooseneck trailer hitch with custom installation kit, part number BWGN-RK1108. Here's what this gooseneck is going to look like once it's installed in the truck. As you can see, we're still going to have full bed access even with it installed, because all you're going to see is your safety chain connection points and then your cutout here for where the ball is going to go. Not only is this gooseneck hitch going to allow you to tow gooseneck trailers, but when used with the B&W fifth wheel companion adapter, it's going to allow you to tow fifth wheel trailers as well. And that's one of the things that sets this gooseneck hitch apart from some of the others that are available for it. This is going to give us a 2 5/16 ball in the bed of our truck to attach to, and it's a solid steel construction, so it's going to be nice and durable. It's nice and easy to slide in, and it's got a square design. And what's nice is here around the edges it's got the cutouts, and what that does there at the corners is allow dirt, grime, and debris to fall down through and not collect in there and cause a problem with getting your ball in and out in order to flip it over. The safety chain U-bolts here are spring loaded, so when you're ready to use them, you just pull them up and connect your safety chains to them, and when you're done, you just let them pull back down so that they're flush with the bed of your truck, so you've got that nice complete access. This hitch features a 7,500 pound vertical load limit and a 30,000 pound gross trailer weight rating. A feature of this that's really nice is that you can stow the ball upside down so that the ball is down so that you have that full bed access. And in order to do that, you simply go to the latch handle in the rear wheel well on the driver's side, pull it out and keep it in the unlocked position. And then you can take the ball, flip it over, drop it back down, and then release the latch to keep the ball locked in that position. And then you're going to have that nice complete bed access so that that's not in your way. And then you do the same thing in order to flip the ball back over when you're ready to use it. Now, let's go ahead and show you how to install it. First thing we'll need to do to begin our installation is up inside the bed. We'll need to take the measurement that's given in the instructions and measure from the very end of the bed down there, and then as close as we can to the center line of the bed, we'll want to mark that distance. Now I'll measure for center of the bed side to side. You can measure that between the wheel wells. Then we'll put that in line with our other mark. Now, at the location that I've got marked for the center of the bed at the correct distance, I'm going to go ahead and drill out my pilot hole. Now I'll take a hole saw, the size indicated in the instructions, and begin to drill that out. Now I'm going to take some black spray paint and spray it around the edge of the hole that I just drilled out, so that that's going to help prevent rust in the bed. Now I've gone ahead and taken the spare tire down for the ease of installation and to make it easier to see. Next thing we'll need to do is take down this spare tire heat shield. So we'll need a 10mm socket in order to remove those two bolts. And then up on the inside of this tab here, there's going to be two 13mm nuts. Then we'll set that heat shield aside. So now we're going to need to let this exhaust bracket hang down so that our tailpipe can hang down a little bit lower to give us plenty of room to work. In order to do that, we'll take the two nuts off that hold it onto this bracket here. So we'll start with this outer one. And that's going to be a 7/16 socket to get that off. Then for our other one here, that's going to be a 1/2 inch socket. So then we can pop both of those carriage bolts out of there. And that's just going to give us a little bit extra room. Now from the driver's side, we're ready to install our cross members. Now on some you may need to notch the flange here just a little bit in the bed, but in this one it does give us just enough room that we'll be able to slide it through. So the first one that we'll need to send through, which is going to be the rear rail, is going to be the one that's got the two notches on the same side, because the smaller notch is going to be over on the passenger side. So we'll lift it up over our driver's side frame rail and begin sliding it across. Now you might have this little stick-on heat shield on the underside of the bed above the exhaust, and it's possible that it could kind of get in the way of installing the rails. So you can pull it down off of there, and that'll give you more room to work for your rail. So then as we slide our rail through, we can work to stand it up a little bit to get it up over that shock mount. Now with it lined up to go over that shock mount on the other side, you may just need to tap it. I'm going to use a dead blow hammer so I don't mark the rail all up. So then, after using the hammer to help get our plate back into place, all I did was use a pry bar and stuck it through one of the holes, similar to what I did earlier, in order to stand it upright in about the position that I'll need. Now I can install the front cross member, and on this one you'll want the flange that's got the holes in it, so it'll face towards the back, straight towards the one on the rear rail. Now with both of our cross members in the approximate position that we'll need them, we can take one of our clamping straps for the side plate and put it over the frame. We're going to do that just behind that front cross member. So now we can take our side plate and put it up into position. You want to make sure that the side plate goes behind this lower hook portion of the clamp, and then we can line up our holes on our side plate with the slotted holes in our cross members. So going towards the inside, we'll take a 1/2 inch bolt with flat washer and feed it in. And then on the inside of our side plate here, we'll put 1/2 inch lock washer and 1/2 inch nut. We'll just get that hand tight. And then on our clamp strap, we'll put a 1/2 inch lock washer and 1/2 inch nut. And then we'll also do that through the top for our front cross member. And now for this bottom hole on our side plate and the hole on the hook part of the clamp strap, put a 1/2 inch bolt through and then put on a lock washer and 1/2 inch nut. Now we'll install our pipe spacer, and it's going to go between the side plate and the frame. Get it lined up with our hole, and then we'll slide our 3/4 inch bolt through. Then on the inside of the frame here, we'll take our 3/4 inch flat washer, 3/4 inch lock washer, and 3/4 inch nut, and get those loosely installed. Then we'll repeat that whole process for the other side. Now with an extra set of hands, we can take our center section and put it up into place. And when we do that, we'll want to be sure that the latch handle side goes towards the driver's side. Then as we get it up into position, we'll take 1/2 inch bolts with flat washers and install them from the outside of the cross members towards the inside. Then on the inside of each of these, put a lock washer and 1/2 inch nut. Now we can begin tightening up our hardware, and we'll start with the bolts that secure the center section to our cross members. So we'll need a 3/4 inch socket and wrench to do that. And then we'll torque them to the specification listed in the instructions. Now we'll tighten up our 3/4 inch bolts using a 1 1/8 socket. Then we'll torque them to the specification listed in the instructions. Now using a 3/4 inch socket and wrench, we'll tighten up our bottom clamp strap bolts. Then we'll torque them to the specification listed in the instructions. Now I'll use the 3/4 inch socket and tighten up the nut on the clamp strap studs. And then we'll torque those to the specification listed in the instructions. And keep in mind, anything that we do on one side, we'll be doing that same thing on the other side. Then using a 3/4 inch socket and wrench, we'll tighten up the bolts that secure our side plate to our cross members. And torque those down to the specification listed in the instructions. Now we can take our latch handle and feed it through. Now we'll get the loop here on the end of our latch handle lined up with the back side of the latch mechanism. Then we'll install a 5/16 carriage bolt to go through. Then on the back side we'll install the flange nut. Once we've got it finger tight, we'll use a 1/2 inch socket in order to tighten it up the rest of the way. Now we'll get ready to start drilling out the holes for our safety chain U-bolts. And you'll want to use the holes that line up best with the low part of the corrugation so that those U-bolts will sit down as flush as possible when they're not in use. So I'm going to use this inside set of holes here. I'm just going to start with a pilot bit up through the center of it. And I'll do that for both the holes on this side. Then I'll do the same thing for the holes for the U-bolt on the other side. Then from inside the bed, I'll step up drill bit sizes, drilling each of these holes out until I've reached the final size. Once we've got them drilled out to the sizes indicated in the instruction, we can take our U-bolts and put them down into place. Now back underneath, we can take our springs, put large side up first, with the narrow side going over the end of the U-bolt last, and then we'll put on 1/2 inch nut. Then we'll use a 3/4 inch socket to tighten the nut on each side of the U-bolt until it's flush with the head of the bolt there. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Now we can reinstall anything that we removed in order to install our gooseneck. That's going to complete our look at an installation of the B&W Turnover Ball underbed gooseneck trailer hitch with custom installation kit, part number BWGNRK1108 on our 2008 Ford F-450 Super Duty.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at etrailer.com.